Napoleon Bonaparte's story begins on the island of Corsica in 1769. He was not born in the center of power. He was born far away to a modest family. But from a young age, he dreamed big. At just 9 years old, he was sent to France to study at military school. He didn't even speak proper French at the time, but he learned quickly. By the time he was 24, Napoleon had already become a general. That's something almost no one his age had ever achieved. He was bold, he was clever, and most importantly, he knew how to win battles. His rise was fast, and people in France began to see him as a hero. In 1799, France was in chaos. The revolution had shaken the country and leaders were weak. Napoleon saw his chance. He staged a coup. Basically, he grabbed power with the support of the army, and it worked. Suddenly, Napoleon was the most powerful man in France. Just a few years later, he crowned himself emperor. He didn't let the Pope put the crown on his head. He took it and placed it himself, sending a clear message. His power came from him alone. As emperor, Napoleon wanted to make France the greatest power in the world. He reformed laws, created the Napoleonic Code, and spread it across Europe. He improved schools, roads, and systems of government. But above all, he fought wars. Lots of wars. Napoleon's armies marched across Europe, defeating Austria, Prussia, and many others. For a while it seemed like no one could stop him. But Napoleon's hunger for power kept growing. In 1812, he made his biggest mistake. He invaded Russia. His army was huge, over 500,000 men. But Russia is not like other places. The cold was brutal. The Russian army kept retreating, burning their own land so the French could not find food. By the time winter hit, Napoleon's army was starving, freezing, and being attacked constantly. Out of more than 500,000 soldiers, only about 10% made it back. It was a disaster. After that, his enemies united. Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia all turned against him. In 1814, they defeated Napoleon, and he was forced to give up his throne. He was sent into exile on the island of Elba. But Napoleon was not finished yet. Less than a year later, he escaped and returned to France. Crowds cheered for him, soldiers rejoined him, and he was emperor once again. This period became known as the 100 Days. But his comeback did not last. In 1815, he fought the famous Battle of Waterloo against the British and Prussians. This time Napoleon lost for good. He was captured and sent far away, to the remote island of St. Helena in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. There, surrounded by the sea and guards, Napoleon spent the last 6 years of his life. He wrote his memories, defended his legacy, and dreamed of what could have been. Napoleon Bonaparte died in 1821 at the age of 51. He had risen higher than almost anyone in history and fallen just as fast, yet his impact never disappeared. The Napoleonic Code still shapes the law in many countries. His military strategies are still studied in academies around the world, and his story, from a boy on Corsica to Emperor of France, remains one of the most dramatic tales of power in history. That is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who rose like a storm, changed Europe forever, and left behind a name the world will never forget.